welcome to Found in Translation, a weekly-ish exploration of one fellow's translation of the Christian scriptures, one chapter or so at a time. I'm Brandon Rhodes, and across the internet from me is the translator himself, Brandon Johnson. Hi, Brandon.
Hey, Brandon.
It's good to be back with you. It has been, maybe 4 months since we last recorded?
Something like that. Enough time for me to get way busier with clients and resist an invasion of my city.
Yeah. Do you have an animal?
Yeah.
Do you have an inflatable suit in your household?
My protest outfit is a Franciscan friar habit. So.
You dodged the question.
I don't. But I just had my daughter print me a 3D frog that's going to rest on my shoulder like my little Francis friend.
That's marvelous.
Next time I go to one. Yeah.
Do you have a pseudonym for when you are in the monk energy?
I have thought about it. I don't know that I'm going to go with this, but ChatGPT suggested Ashen Vox. It's like Vox for voice, and Ashen kind of like burning things to the ground kind of thing. Yeah. So
not Bono Vox, not the beautiful voice, but the combustive voice. Combusted.
Yeah, the kind that's a purifying fire, perhaps.
Nice. Yeah, it's been a pretty wacky summer and fall. It has felt like the theme of 2025 is we need a new DSM code for fascism.
Okay.
Like, I feel like executive function is just a little, like, notched down this year. So finding ways to be present and tracking time coherently is just like a new thing to learn how to do again in this world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, it's also been like, you know what? Getting to record this with you was a really important discipline for the first half of the year of like, let's stay engaged in listening to what Christ and the early church thought about life under authoritarianism, and let's talk to some other people who geek out in that way too. So I'm glad.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, like talking about what the early church thought, but also talking to others currently in the church and what they're experiencing, what they're thinking, how they're responding, especially having a lot of guests who had perspectives that different from our own experience personally.
Yes.
Similar perspectives on things as far as where we've landed, but different routes to get there for sure.
Yeah. So this new season we're recording here is going to be going through the book of James, the epistle of James, the public letter of James, the I don't quite know how to categorize in genre James.
Yeah, no one exactly does.
Yeah. Which is a blast. Like it's some of these places where folks of a generally liberation-y bent, like some of our favorite proof texts show up here in James. So it's been kind of refreshing to not like lead with that, but finally, after everything we've been learning through so many different books, other parts of the sacred library, to be able to come to James and go to see it again is for the first time.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even like we have to work to find it at all. It's almost like, oh, this is challenging me to go even further than I naturally want to.
Right. It's pretty direct. Like, hey, you're not paying your employees while you're going to hell.
Yeah. Which,
thanks, Jimmy.
Kind of not surprising that Martin Luther wanted to take it out of the canon. So, there's that.
Yeah. Officially because of the faith and doubts language, but unofficially.
I mean, he was known to be pretty anti a lot of other people groups. So, famously misogynistic and anti-Semitic for starts.
Yeah. So let's get into this. So we're just going to talk through today about the getting an overview of James. How would you summarize how you feel about authorship, structure, genre, context?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, as far as authorship goes, it's traditionally attributed to James, Jacob, uh, the brother of Jesus, not the James that's one of the 12 disciples, but Jesus' actual brother, also born from Mary and Joseph. Um, whether that's true or not, no idea. Seems like a good guess. It's got a pretty Jewish voice behind it as far as the style of language and writing goes.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so, as good a guess as any. I have no reason not to think so exactly. But kind of it feels like you were hinting at, like the genre. It's formatted as a letter, but the way it's talking, it doesn't seem like it's talking to a specific group. So it's maybe like an open letter to the church of you're not being radical enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a
So
blog post
kind of, yeah,
or a blind copy kind of email.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Like this was meant to be shared
right.
in a way that Paul seemed to have a certain awareness of his letters being shared around. And some of them seemed explicitly
Hmm.
kind of with that intent, like Ephesians kind of seems to, whoever wrote that. This seems to be from the get go. I'm not really addressing pastoral concerns or like say hi to Bill over in your town. Like
Right. It's not naming
it's,
specific people. It's yeah,
yeah, yeah. And James is the, assuming we'll just play along with that authorship just based on the author, whoever wrote it would like for you to think of it as being from him, not just to pull rank, but perhaps also as a hermeneutical lens to hear this through. And so
hmm,
James being one of the main characters in the Jerusalem church, the most
right,
heavily Jewish Jesus huddle in the
right.
Mediterranean
It's
area.
there in Judea. It's not in a Gentile city that's got Jews in it, but it's like this is a Jewish population with maybe a handful of Gentiles passing through or having immigrated or something. But
Yeah,
yeah,
or occupying
uh,
the land.
yeah. Although I don't know that the ones who are actively doing the occupying would be the ones paying a lot of attention to this. But yeah,
Not that you've learned anything about occupying
right.
soldiers lately.
Yeah. But the point of it being to the or from at least attributed to the voice of the leader of the Jerusalem church also fits with the themes, as that being in Acts, we see that being like going full anarcho-communist, like flat hierarchy, completely giving up uh, personal property ownership rights and just sharing with everybody to make sure everyone has what they need. Um,
Yes.
and so the fact that the rest of the letter is kind of about stop marginalizing people, prioritize the poor over the rich,
Hmm.
um, makes sense for that setting.
It does. It does. It seemed like there was also just a steady need for finances there in a way that I guess was just different in the rest of the diaspora. The more heavily Gentile spaces that Paul was doing his community organizing in. He
Mm-hmm.
also had you know, his fixation on like giving to the poor was often framed specifically as send it back to the Jerusalem church for a whole variety
Mm-hmm.
of reasons, but it also fits that like some redistribution is very like needed, not just to sort of express, you know, these prophecies of the wealth of the nations flowing to Zion, but also like
Right.
there's something tough going on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love just imagining this as being like again, whether or not it was Jesus' brother or not, it's quite comforting to think of like the fella who grew up with Jesus, who was raised by the woman who sang the Magnificat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that these were the kind of the priorities that he had. He's like, this is what it means to continue the Jesus story together.
Yeah. Yeah, these two guys, Jesus and James, had some good parenting.
I'll say. Yeah, also credit to Joseph.
I assume. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't really tell us much about him, but
Yeah, he tried to save face for Mary at some point in the Luke's account, but yeah.
mm-hmm. And then was told, actually, that's not going far enough. Like, don't just save face for her. Like, no,
Yep.
this stay with her. Like,
Right.
it'll be good. Promise.
Right.
So, yeah, and it's encouraging to me too, because if you see the places where any kind of response is attributed to Jesus' siblings at all, it's not really. It's either completely neutral of like, hey, they're outside, or or it's like them kind of mocking him of like, why aren't you going to Jerusalem? And then he goes goes behind their backs anyway. It's just interesting. But they don't seem on board with his mission. They don't seem to get what he's about. But apparently that turned around, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah. It's like, that's just Josh being weird.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense. Like, that's your brother. You're like, okay, Mr. Revolutionary, like, you do your thing, I guess.
Big picture. When you translated this, are there some big takeaways that will help us as we begin this journey together over these next few weeks?
It's not just for the poor, it's like actively against the powerful and the wealthy.
Okay.
Which was kind of like, oh, wow, okay, this is not pulling any punches.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, you've got chapter 2 where we'll get into this more when we get to chapter 2, but it's talking about the like not showing favoritism. And it doesn't just say don't show favoritism as if you're supposed to like hold the poor and the wealthy equally. It's don't prioritize the wealthy. In fact, do prioritize the poor over the wealthy.
Yeah. You have to
And
actively work to go against your
right.
learned instincts to favor the more powerful in whatever by whatever axis that is
right
expressed.
Yeah. And then chapter 5 is like full fire and brimstone against people who are with like underpaying their workers and withholding wages, and it's like, you're going to pay for this. Like, that's not a way to live.
Yeah, and then somewhere in the middle there's quite an extended thing about like gossip and language and how the tongue is an instrument of fire and all this stuff.
Yeah, which isn't just don't say fuck, right? Which is pretty much how it was used growing up. It's like, those are the proof texts for clean up your language, right? Which is absolutely in no way what it's talking about at all. I don't know if I can say that any more clearly. Like, anyone who's teaching that is completely missing the point. Like, you're not even reading the same Bible, basically.
Yeah, you're not straining out a what have you. It's like, no, it's just not fucking there.
Yeah. It's about don't demean other people. Don't speak about other people to them or about them in ways that imply they have lesser value than anyone else. Because the words that you use about people are showing something about your mindset, and your mindset shows how you're going to act, and your words influence other people to think that way and have that mindset too, and then also act in that way. Like, that's the spark that leads to a wildfire. Is like, if it's okay to talk about people as if they're less than, it's also becomes okay to treat people as less than.
Right.
And it's kind of the whole thing of this book is, nope, not okay.
Yeah. That is a relief on so many fronts. I mean, yes, on all the justice stuff, but the part of me that's like Bible geek has felt very strange about this letter because it doesn't read how I expect a letter or even a sermon to read. There are some scholars who find it to be probably more properly placed in wisdom literature, in kind of collected sayings, almost like the Gospel of Thomas, but slightly more formed than that. And so it's like, okay, I dig everything Jimmy's saying here, but how did this get by an editor? Like at one level, seems to be some like good bullet. Like my notes app has a lot of bullet point documents in it. Seems kind of like you popped open his notes app and this is what you get. But some of the translation shifts that you bring seems to really surface an underlining coherence and unity. So I'm looking forward to that, to really getting verse by verse about feeling out there being some coherence.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think in some ways you're right. It's kind of just like, okay, you didn't get that. Let me tell you something else that might drive it home. And let me tell you something else that might drive it home. It's not necessarily one sustained thought, but it's a chain of thoughts that all lead toward the same place. And that place is really all about justice. I mean, like I think a lot of people, the first thing they think of James, other than the like tame the tongue thing, is the faith without works is dead, right?
Yes.
And I mean, if there's not anything that's more James Cone sounding, it's that. It's like, I don't really care what you think. Show me what you're doing.
Yes.
That'll tell me much more about what you think than anything you say to me. We're going to have scholar Miguel de la Torre on our show at some point here. And they talk very much in the same vein of doctrine does not lead to right practice. Right practice leads to right doctrine. Starting with practice is what matters. And they are in the vein of pretty much all liberation theology.
Yeah.
Especially that Latin American, but also the Black liberation theology and womanist theology. It's all in there.
Yeah.
That how you live forms you as a person and is the way of transforming your mind. Repentance, returning to the path, is by living it and letting that transform you. Living it together, not as an individual, as a community.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you can articulate it. But articulating it first is not the thing.
No, and that really does seem to be aligned pretty substantially with psychology and a lot from a lot of different angles. We don't think our way into a new way of living. We live our way into a new way of thinking. And I would say, and loving. Like, thinking does not easily... It can remove excuses and clarify why I don't love somebody.
Sure.
But it really takes, like, sitting down across the table.
Yeah.
And living differently if I'm going to, like, believe something differently about them. Like, it's a great... It's not the culmination. It's just the last domino to fall. Like, thinking isn't the top of the pyramid.
Right.
It's not the front door. It's not the top of the pyramid. It's just the last domino.
Yeah, and it's exactly like, and like the faith without works, the taming the tongue, all of this kind of is getting at too. It's like, it kind of doesn't matter if you say, I think black people are just as valuable as white people. All lives matter. Right? Like,
Right.
or even if you're saying Black Lives Matter and have the nice sign in your window, like, if it doesn't change how you're living, if you're not advocating for police reform, if you're not marching to resist authoritarianism, if you're not voting this way instead of that way, I mean, you might choose not to vote at all, and that's a different question. But um, if you're not spending your money at Black-owned, woman-owned businesses instead of corporate places that are actively underpaying Black and women workers,
Yes.
like, then it doesn't matter that you say Black Lives Matter because you're not acting like Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, this is all really uncomfortable for a podcast that we're just here talking.
True.
Here's how we're thinking differently based on what we're reading differently in the story. I think a growing edge for me is to learn how to, part of fully digesting this is, how do I experiment my way from this? Like, if that's true,
Mm-hmm.
how can I live my way into actually thinking that way?
Yeah.
And thinking and feeling.
Not just thinking cognitively, but like at a gut level, this is my base level assumption.
Yeah, not new opinions. Not new opinions. New loves, new longings, new...
Mm-hmm. It's the reflexive, such a deep way of thinking because I've been doing it that the next opportunity to do it is automatic.
I mean, for fuck's sake, that's Aristotle. Like, that's virtue ethics. You practice your way into the kind of human you aspire to be.
Mm-hmm.
Which is actually not that far from, like, what the Catholic Church teaches. It's often very much in that direction. Yeah. This is not anything new. But because I think the reason we're circling around it so much is, I'll say twofold. At a meta level, Protestantism.
Yeah, enough said.
Yeah. Like who belongs? Those who say the right things and have the right opinions. I mean, and that even really does go back to kind of creedal, confessional Christianity, which has much to offer, and also you got to do work with that as a blind spot. You can't let that be a false summit.
Right.
And then, personally, just evangelical formation. Yeah.
Even the Nicene Creed, the whole Council of Nicaea, I assert was a betrayal of the way of Christ. Even that entire council, not necessarily the statement that they came out with, the Nicene Creed, but it was all based on Caesar Constantine wanted a uniform church so that it would be more easy to control and use for his own empowerment. And so he said, I don't care what you believe, but you have to agree on something. You have to make it be one thing so that we can know who's in and who's out.
Yeah.
And that was the whole basis of it. And so, yeah, as soon as you get into, we're going to decide who we treat as belonging and who we can exclude based on what they say they believe, you've lost the thread.
Oh my God. So I just saw this, this reel of a comedian who said, I'm very liberal, and but I do have some conservative friends, and some of them are, I think one in particular is just a better person than me. We were walking down the street, and there's this trans woman in front of us, or a trans woman presenting, considered, and if she were to trip and fall in front of a truck, he would reach down and throw her out of the way and keep her safe. And all I would do is say, "Oh no, she fell."
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel so God. I think the church word is convicted by that. Yeah, you got to live your way. You got to risk yourself to feel and think different. Yeah, but we digress about all this faith, works, doubt. We've got plenty of weeks ahead of us to sort all that out. Before we were recording, you mentioned that kind of one of the favorite verses in all of James may actually be a pretty good place to trust and read the rest of it through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think chapter one has kind of a single verse that is not all by itself. I mean, although it's actually decent all by itself, but it's kind of the theme, right? It's the thesis statement of
Mm-hmm.
the whole book. And then it kind of comes to a restatement in a practical way back at the end of in the beginning of chapter five at the end of the book. So you can read those and see how they land together. So yeah, here's James 1:27, which you can look at. We're not going to have on the screen today, but you can look at it on litbible.net/James-1 if you'd like to. It says, "Loyalty that is clean and uncontaminated in the view of our God and Father is this: watching over orphans and widows during their oppression, carefully keeping yourself unstained by the world system."
Mm.
It's pretty good by itself as far as like that lived faithfulness versus just like, oh yeah, I believe this doctrine.
Yeah. 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 And that, like, where you have loyalty, it's conventionally faith or religion. Religion, is that it?
Religion, yeah, yeah, which is a weird anachronism to put the word religion there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
So,
concept of religion as like a body of belief
mm-hmm.
was not a thing at the time. So
Yeah. Yeah. Much less, yeah, also like properly administered cultic practice. Like, body of belief,
mm-hmm.
cool. Properly administered cultic practice, fine.
Yeah,
The
I
early
mean, even
church
the
was like
English word religion
religio,
is from
yeah.
the word, it's from like being bound, and so Catholics still use it this way. They talk about secular meaning not non
Yes.
spiritual, but about being just like regular Catholic people
Yeah.
versus the religious are people who have taken vows to specific orders, like being monks and stuff. Um,
When Kelly
so,
and I were first dating, Kelly's Catholic, as you know. She kept on talking about my religious friends, and I was like, "The fuck, you've got who's on first?" Like it, it was so confusing because I had
it's a
no
very different
idea.
way to use the terms. Yeah.
It is. It is. It's a more formal sense of it, but yeah, here
Yeah,
we don't need to
but
worry
the
about that.
Catholic
He's.
language is coming back much more to like the original language use of it,
Mm-hmm.
rather than kind of what it has become in American English. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what it is talking about here: is this sense of like a commitment, a binding yourself to a way of being,
Yes.
taking these vows of like, I'm going to live aligned with this calling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's what it's talking about, not just like I'm Christian instead of Buddhist or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And so, how is this verse? You know, loyalty that's good to God is looking after the vulnerable and not being defiled by
Mm-hmm.
these systems.
Yeah, I mean, you've got James 2, it's faithfulness of Jesus Christ, not preferential treatment for people of high status. You've got later in chapter 2, uh, what is the benefit if someone claims to have trust but doesn't have actions? Can trust liberate them? Nope. If someone says, go peacefully, stay warm, and eat well, but doesn't give them what their body needs, what is the benefit? Hmm. Um, and then you come back to, it's like, okay, we've given you all these arguments for why like actually living this is what matters and not just doctrinal
Yeah.
statements.
Yeah.
um, and that's where it comes back to, now come on, you who are wealthy, weep, wailing at the hardships coming upon you. Your wealth has rotted and your clothing has become moth-eaten. Your gold and silver have corroded, and their corrosion will be a testament against you, and it will consume your body like fire. You hoarded assets in the final days. Look, the pay of the workers who harvested your fields that you deprived them of cries out from you, and the cries of the harvesters have reached the ears of the Lord of the multitudes. You lived indulgently and luxuriously in the land, feeding your heart's desires during a day of slaughter. You have rendered judgment and murdered the just person, without the just person even resisting you. So, pretty harsh words for people who don't look out for orphans and widows. It's not just, and it's not enough to say you're innocent if you didn't actively harm orphans and widows. If you didn't actively make sure that people's lives are better than when you leave it better than how you find it, weep, wailing at the hardships coming upon you.
Yeah, it strikes me how much those are inverted. Like if we paraphrase it as a way of being human that is good before God is looking after the vulnerable and not getting all fucked by these domination systems. You got to get those out of your head. Mm-hmm. The inverse of that is the rich who are exploiting the vulnerable and are fully animating and aligning themselves with structures of domination, control, and scarcity.
Yeah.
Like
even if they're not actively the ones slaughtering people, living indulgently and feeding your heart's desires during a day of slaughter, you're culpable. You're complicit in it.
It's going to be a really comforting read, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's exciting though. Like reading this kind of stuff, reading the writings of James Cone, for instance, like just finished God of the Oppressed recently. It like lights a fire in me. There's something to it that's like this is right. This is actually good.
Yes.
And I want to do something about it.
Yeah. 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 I don't feel guilty. I feel motivated. I feel grounded in a deep river of wisdom and courage here. Yeah. And kindness. Fucking kindness.
Mm-hmm. Fiery kindness, but
fiery kindness. Yes. The best kind. Well, I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a good few weeks. In times like these, all the more so to be warmed by this kind of fire.
Absolutely.
So if you want to read ahead, we're going to be doing one chapter a week. So next week's going to be chapter 1. Thank you for joining us here at the start of this journey. The easiest way to support Found in Translation is to leave us a rating or a review on whatever website or podcast player you're enjoying this on. YouTube and Apple Podcasts in particular helps other people find the show. You can find us on Facebook as Found in Translation. You can read the Liberation and Inclusion translation at www.litbible.net and follow its development on Threads at lit.bible. If you want to hear from Brandon Johnson, it's only litbible.net. And you can follow me on Threads as at BDRhodes, BDRHODES. The music you are listening to is by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.net. Found in Translation was produced on unceded Chinook and Kalapuya land. Goodbye, Brandon.
Bye, Brandon.
Bye, everybody.